Hey everyone, do you want to increase average order value, increase engagement, and provide the best possible customer experience? Then you need a brilliant e commerce email retention strategy. Luckily, you've come to the right place. Welcome to That's Actually Marketing. That's Actually Marketing, a video series all about best practices and actionable tips and tricks so you can optimize your marketing efforts. So, in this series, we're diving into all things e commerce email retention strategy. We'll be covering welcome, retargeting, and post purchase tactics. We'll discuss the strategies that the best of the best businesses are using and delve into the do's, the don'ts, and absolutely must haves. But before we get too excited, let's introduce ourselves. Dom, would you mind?
Hello everyone, I am Dom Ada. I'm the founder of Faction Digital. We're a retention marketing agency for e-commerce brands and D2C brands. And I'm very excited to be here and talk through all best practices to do with email marketing. How about you? Who are you?
Who am I? I don't know most of the time. I'm Naj. I call myself a marketing alchemist because I want to help businesses turn their innate gifts into gold. So I'm a self-described chronic marketer with 16 years of mass communications and marketing experience. I'm dating myself a little bit. And I'm now working to help small to medium-sized businesses get the most out of their marketing budget. So, okay, I could talk about us all day long. It's my favorite topic, but let's get straight into email retention strategy. So first things first, what exactly do we mean by an email retention strategy?
So it's essentially doing everything you possibly can to make sure that you're communicating with your customers in the best possible way so that they come back a second time, a third time, a fourth time, that they come back as in a short amount of time frame as possible, and they spend as much with a brand as possible, amongst lots of other things. So there's lots of different things that we can be doing in order to really optimize that main goal.
So would you mind kind of giving some examples of what would make up an email retention strategy?
The first thing that you probably want to be doing is looking at your current customer data and really getting an idea of who's buying what and when, and really getting a really solid understanding of all the different things that make up your customer, their wants, their desires, their problems, their needs. And then you'll take that and you'll gradually map out basically a blueprint of different emails or SMS or different push messages along the life cycle to really make sure that you're sending the right messages, the right offers to the right people at the right time. That classic, slightly cliche marketing spiel, yeah.
Yeah, but it's marketing 101 is the foundation. Yeah, and it's absolutely true. It's a classic. So so that's great stuff. So why should people have an email retention strategy?
I think what a lot of brands tend to do, especially on the small side, the small kind of ecom brands that I come across, is that they go with their gut and they do this kind of spray and pray approach where everyone gets the same email, and if something doesn't work, they just try something else for a bit, but they're not, and they always end up chasing their tails. They're constantly trying to get new things out all the time, and what you end up getting is a really underperforming channel. But what you can do if you begin with looking at the bigger picture, who your customers are, where they're at, what your offers should be, and you tie that into your broader business goals alongside other channels, you can begin to really create a really solid plan. And you're not chasing your tails. You're not going round and round in circles.
Absolutely. I think in my experience, it's quite likely that most companies will have some very basic things in place, like at least a welcome email or maybe some, abandoned cart emails. But when you start putting that stuff into a strategy, it becomes really powerful. In your experience, like working with your clients, is that often the case that they might have something basic in place?
Yeah, so pretty much most accounts we go into is there'll be the odd automation in place. They might have one or two welcome emails and maybe a couple of templated retargeting flows, and often not much with post-purchase. But yeah, with welcome flows, they'll have something set up. And then, but it's they maybe haven't really thought about it. They've seen something written about, we need to put our offer out. We need to put something about our brand out. Maybe we might put a USP in the first email and a couple of reviews, but there's not like a proper in-depth thought about who the customer is, where they are with their competitors, what other people are doing in the inbox, and thinking about all these other things that go into increasing engagement with this sort of comms. So yeah, a lot of people have stuff set up, but it's often very minimal or not really thought through.
Yeah, for sure. I think thinking about the entire customer life cycle is really important. Creating that flywheel rather than a sort of a vicious cycle where people just sort of like churn out is really important and very interesting way actually at the end of the day, or at least I think so, and I'm sure you think so as well. With regards to email retention strategy, what we're going to do over the series is we're going to take a look at what separates the good from the great, talk about some best practices. What are you looking forward to speaking about?
I'm looking forward to really getting to grips with some of the nitty gritty parts of emails, what's working, what's not. I think it's often undervalued by brands, and I think it's really important at the expense of or compared to other channels. I see a lot of Instagram posts, and the thought goes in behind socials and ads, and there's a huge amount of effort that goes into very little, tiny details. But with emails, there's often like a glossing over of certain elements that make a big difference. So I'm really excited to look at some brands that are doing things well, and also brands that could really improve the way they're doing their messaging.
Oh yes, absolutely.
How about you? What are you looking forward to do?
Yeah, well, I love looking at deliberate sort of choices in design. I'm always really interested in the itty bitty stuff that brands put in that maybe a lot of people would probably just look right over, but to the keen email geek I we can probably pick out some clever things that they've done that anybody could do. And I think that's the beauty of email marketing, is that actually once you know a lot of the tips and tricks, I feel like one of those magicians that is talking about the magician's code, but once you actually do spot those tips and tricks, they're pretty easy to implement. So I'm excited to kind of reveal those things to people watching. So I think we've talked a big game about email retention strategy. And if that sounds good to our friends watching, I will see you in the next episode all about welcome emails. See ya!